Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. Om Satyam Param Dhimai.
How important is it to have an aim in life? How important is it to have an aim in life? Do we all have an aim, or is there no aim in life? What is the aim of life? No one.
It's an aim subject to circumstances. If you are a son of a well-to-do person, you carry on life, everything is on a click. But the chap who's going to struggle is going to find a particular aim and go for it.
Mm-hmm. And can there be some other aim?
Clean up our past mess.
Clean up the past.
Yes.
Okay. So, supposing we say that could there be an aim in which we have taken birth, right? And we don't know the aim for why we've come. So everybody has that aim deep down, but they've forgotten that aim. Is it possible? Right? So that aim would be to wake up from the dream of life. No? So the deeper aim. Now, how would we relate that aim to our normal life? Or let's put it in another way. Supposing I say there is no aim in my life, is there still some underlying aim? What can it be? Supposing I say, I got no aim in life, just whatever life brings is okay. But is there still some underlying aim in life?
It must be.
Right.
Subconscious.
Subconscious, there's always a, desire that we want things to be comfortable, we want a little bit of money, right? We want to possess our things, etc. There's so many aims within us which we are not aware of. Okay? Now, how do all those aims relate to an aim which we have forgotten? Why am I seeking comfort? Why am I seeking comfort? It is underlying in everyone, right? They want a comfortable life, they say you want a happy life, you want this, right? So many things. Even though I may say my aim is not there in life, still this is hidden somewhere deep down within you. So how will I, relate it to these small aims in my life? Okay, let's put it another way. this search for happiness, where does it come from? Why am I in life always looking for happiness? Why am I always looking for happiness? Where does it come from?
Isn't that a desire?
Hmm?
Isn't that a desire?
Yeah, but what is the deeper, what do you call, deeper level from which that desire is coming? Why do I seek happiness? Why do I seek happiness? And whatever goes to make me happy, whether it is comfort or money or whatever, right? Fame or whatever. Why do I seek it?
Maybe we see other people happier. We also.
Is that it? Or is there something else? That is, we compare, okay, maybe I'm happy if I have a better car than you, right? But
We want to be happy.
but where is it coming from?
Doesn't it come from the source, where we come from?
With, huh?
Comes from the source from where we come from.
Yeah, but why? How? Why? Definitely, there is something in us which is looking for happiness. Is it that same thing which knows that there is an inner source of happiness?
It's something much greater.
Yeah, and only if I find that source of inner happiness will I be really
Happy.
happy. But somewhere I get blinded and I feel if I get a new car I'll be happy, right? Or maybe if my name comes in the papers I'll be happy. Or if I come first in class I'll be happy. Or I get this degree I'll be happy. But all this which I'm looking for, is it a reflection of something deep down? Right. And if I can understand this in life, then my aim is something deeper within myself. Now, like he said, some of us have a definite aim in life. We want a certain job, we want to pass a certain exam, we want to earn money. And if there is an aim in life, what does it do? It gives direction to our life. Direction to our life. Now, once we have an aim, what is the next step? What is the next step?
Plan.
Huh?
Plan.
Plan, but what do we have to do to fulfill our aim?
Right.
How much are we ready to
Work. Sacrifice.
sacrifice? The second point will come that this is my aim. It could be any aim, it could be a life aim or an inner aim. A life aim, maybe I want to earn a lot of money, right? But how much am I willing to sacrifice? How much of my time, how much of my attention, how much of my energy am I willing to invest towards my aim? Right? Right. Then what else? What will be the third step? The third step. There will be a kind of discrimination. What takes me to my aim and what takes me away from my aim. There will be an inner discrimination. Right? So, I will have how much of what does not take me to my aim am I willing to let go? What is useless? How much am I willing to let go? Right? So, we have to decide. No? Say, very early in life, I decided that this was my aim in life. So, how much was I willing to let go for that aim in life? So, maybe I could have stayed in a big city and had a good job or whatever, right? So, did I want that or did I want my aim in life? So, am I willing to let go that for the aim in life? You understand what I'm trying to say? So, there is always sacrifice and there is always a kind of discrimination. And this discrimination will come in my daily routine, in my daily activities. how will it work in our daily activities? My father had 54 first cousins. Right? 54 first cousins. Right? And there would always be some family this and family that and family this. So at one point I just decided that that's over. From this moment it's cut off because it has nothing to do with my aim in life. Can you understand? So from that moment I stopped going for all family functions. Nobody ever invited me for any wedding or anything. And one shot I was able to cut off a lot of useless things which were coming in the way of my aim. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? So how much are we, what kind of discrimination are we going to use? Discrimination. Are we going to use? Okay. So I've kept relations with a few of my uncles and aunts, and maybe I meet them once in a few years. And once in a few years when I meet them, they tell me the history of everybody else, which I listen for 1 or 2 hours, and that's the end of the matter because I've forgotten it. And that's it. So that was the end of all socializing, because I knew that so much of time if I spend in that is time which I want to work towards my aim in life. Right? And I always remembered one thing, the last hour of life. If I am going to die after 1 hour, will I go for somebody's wedding? Definitely I am not going to go for somebody's wedding. They drop it now. Drop it. I am not saying there's a wedding tomorrow, please do. Right? So, but this is how, it worked. It worked because it saved a lot of time for me to work towards my aim. Now, supposing we want to work on ourselves inside, then we must have 2 aims, a life aim and a work aim. So my work aim is to wake up from this dream in life. And that is a very, very big aim to make, because thousands and thousands of people work towards that path, but very, very few are able to achieve it. A person can become a president of a country, but he's still sleeping in the dream of life. Right? So it's very, very difficult. But if that is my inner aim in life, then I have to make a life aim and a work aim. So what will my life aim be? Like he said, what will my life aim be? To live comfortably, to pay the bills, look after the family, right? That will be my life aim. And the rest of the time I want to spend towards my inner aim. Now, we may have one general aim in life. Do we break it down into smaller aims? Do we break it down into smaller aims? Is it necessary to break it down? Supposing I want to earn a lot of money. This is a life aim. I want to be very rich. Do I break it down into smaller aims?
Work towards
To work, I have to break it down into small, and those small aims come right down to
0.
To my next couple of hours. To my next couple of hours. So I have to break it down. Right? What will I do this month? What will I do with this week? What will I do this day? How will I? And how much of work am I going to do towards this aim that I want to become a very rich person or whatever? Now, we have made the aim, we've decided everything. Now what do we need to work towards our aim? What do we need to work towards our aim? It's easy. Knowledge. Knowledge, right? Supposing you want to work in any field of life, you need knowledge, you need a degree. whatever. So you need knowledge. So we have to work to acquiring the knowledge. We have to find the source of knowledge. Now, for any outer aim, knowledge is always in life. Supposing I want to learn how to work in the stock market, right? Then knowledge is in life. I acquire that knowledge from different people or from a university or whatever, and I use that aim in life. I use that knowledge for my aim in life. But what about inner aim? Does that knowledge come from outside, or does the beginning of that knowledge come from outside and the rest of the knowledge comes from inside? Self-knowledge. It cannot come from books, it cannot come from gurus, it cannot. They can give you the initial practice of moving inside. But then real knowledge comes from observation of self. And this is a totally different knowledge. Totally different knowledge, because it takes us deeper and deeper into the mystery which we call life. So, I just wanted to talk a little on aim. Now, one more thing. Now we've decided so much. What do we have to make in our life to work towards the aim? What do we have to make? Atha Yoga Anushasanam. What do we have to make? A discipline. A discipline. So we make a discipline that this is my life aim. If it is an inner aim, then what steps I am going to follow every day, what discipline I am going to follow. You may say, okay, this much knowledge is there, but what discipline are you going to instill in yourselves to acquire that knowledge? Now, supposing one simple aim I make, and this is an inner aim, that I don't want to react in life. One simple aim, that I don't want to react in life. Will I have to make discipline of how I work in life? I'll have to make a very strict discipline, right? Now, I'll have to acquire knowledge of what? What will I have to acquire knowledge of what? Supposing I say, this is my aim, I don't want to react. Right? This is my aim. So now I have to acquire knowledge of what? What makes me react? And that will be negative emotions. So I'll have to study negative. Why do I get irritated? Why do I get angry? Why do I get jealous? Right? I'll have to go into the why. That knowledge I'll acquire from outside and I'll start applying it inside through observation. Now, what else comes? When we are working in a discipline, what comes? What else comes in a discipline? What is there? There is always a struggle. There is always a struggle, because a part of us does not want to follow the discipline, and a part of us wants to follow the discipline, and there is always an inner struggle. Now, can we make right use of that struggle, or do we waste that struggle? Can there be right use of that struggle? Okay. Before that, what is effort? What is effort?
The amount you put in work
For the
end result.
for the aim.
For the aim.
Yeah, supposing I tell someone that, why don't you walk 1 hour every day? Right? And she tells me, no, but in the home I do all the homework and I have to go up and down the steps and I go in the kitchen and I do this and I do that. So that is more than 1 hour every day. Is that effort towards aim?
Normal work.
Normal work. It is not effort towards aim.
Aim.
Right? Supposing I have an aim that I want to lose 5 kilos of weight. And for that I want to walk 1 hour every day, then I can't say that, okay, in the house I go up and down, and that is more than 1 hour every day. I have to make work towards that aim. Right? So these are just a few things in life. Aim is very, very important. How much of work we will put in towards our aim. Now, if we had one last thing, if we have an inner aim, what kind of effort is really needed? What kind of effort is really needed? My teacher used to call this as white hot heat. What is white hot heat? Somebody came to the great mystic Ramakrishna and asked him that I have been searching my whole life and I have not found God. Why haven't I found God? You have found God, I have not found God. So he took his head and he put it in a pail of water. And till that man just couldn't take it any longer, then he got out, he took his head out and he was gasping for breath. He's saying, see how much you need breath. Do you really need God that much? Then you will find God. So how much do we, with what we have this aim that we want to wake up, but how passionate are we towards our aim? Only then some result will come. Right? So these are just a few things. Now, how do we make decisions in life? How do we make this? What goes into the making of a decision? What goes into the making of a decision? Have you ever thought of the factors which go into the making of a decision? What goes into the making of a decision? How do we make a decision in life? Okay? So many decisions you make. How do you make a decision?
First to consider what must be done.
Correct. So how are our decisions? Are our decisions between yes and no, necessary and unnecessary, good or bad, pain and pleasure, right or wrong?
Important or not important.
Important. Is this how we make decisions?
Maybe would be what is important and what is necessary.
Right? Supposing I make a decision that I want to stop smoking. Will it work?
Very hard one.
Will it work? After 5 minutes I'll start smoking? Again. Pardon? Willpower? So what I'm trying to ask you is, how do you all decide in life? Do you decide between two? It is always between two, either this or that. Is there something more to making a decision? That is what I want to ask you. So we talked about aim. Is there something more to making a decision?
Depending on the seriousness of the case.
No, not the seriousness of, to just the making of the decision. making of the decision? Is there something more than just yes or no, or I want it or I don't want it, or I like it or I don't like it, important or not important?
Isn't what each with the aim? Will it be that?
Huh? I'm not talking about the ordinary aims, decisions in life. If the what you call the meal is cooked, I have to take it off the stove. I can't just say that I'm now looking for something new over here. Not that. But when we make important decisions in life, what happens? Later on, what happens? There is always a regret later on. That did I make the right decision? And why is that? Why is that? Why is that? What are we missing in the making of a decision? What are we missing in the making of a decision? Supposing I say that today, what do I want to do today? Right? So I say, okay, today I've got to finish so much of work, but I'd also like to go shopping and buy a shirt. Right? Now, so then in the end I give up. I say I'll finish the work tomorrow or day after. And I go and buy the shirt, and that is my day is over. And then tomorrow I have kept for doing the important work which I was supposed to do, but tomorrow I get guests. Right? Then what happens? Then what happens? I regret going and buying the shirt. And this happens all the time. And why does this happen? What are we missing out in life? What are we missing out in life? Are all our decisions binary between two? Are all our decisions binary between two, either this or that, and between this and that we take a decision? And what should a real decision be? What should the real decision be?
Why should I put it?
No, that is later. It should become not two, it should become three. It should become three. No, you're not getting it. Not getting it. That I am struggling between yes and no. But is there something else which is beyond yes and no?
Maybe.
There always is something else which is beyond yes and no. Right? And if I understand that, then I'll never make the wrong decision. I'll never regret the decision. But if I don't understand that, then if I go for this, then after some time I'll say, but maybe if I had done that. And it always happens, because I cannot see something. What can I not see? And you see, life is always a meeting of three, whatever we call it, whether we call it Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, whether we call it is always a meeting of three. And we are always struggling between two. We cannot see the third.
Is it the higher mind?
Third is something higher. What I'm trying to say is that what do we do? What do we do over here? What do we do? This very understanding that any decision made between two is always wrong, because it is made by the logical mind. We can do many things. We can take other people's opinions, but we can do so many things. But this is the basic thing which I'm coming to, is that we have to be able to see something which is not in the yes and not in the no, or it is in both the yes and the no, to see something of the beyond. Only then will our decision, and especially the major decisions in our life, then they will be on the right, they will be right decisions. Right? But if we always make them between two, then we'll always fail to make the right decision. What could this third thing be? What could this third thing be? Okay, supposing you say all Hindu ceremonies, supposing you see here this thing, what do you call it? Guruji's house. So from the morning to evening, somebody's bought a new car and he'll come, okay, do some puja of the car. What is the science behind that? What is the science behind it? Why is somebody coming and doing the puja of the car, and you'll start a new shop, you'll say, okay, let's have a puja of the shop and this. Why? What is the science behind that? What is the science behind that?
Safety.
Huh?
Safety.
If it is safety, it can never work. It can never work.
God's guidance.
Huh?
Guidance from above or
Yeah.
force.
So we are accepting that between our yes and no, this decision we are making, there is some other force, there is some other intelligence, and we are inviting that intelligence to be favorable to us. We are inviting that intelligence, right? But by just mechanically doing a puja, does it work, or does there have to be something more? What is the third force?
We have faith in your
Faith is blind.
Intention.
blind faith.
Blind faith is not going to work. The days of blind faith are over. What do we have to do?
Must be some emotion for it, some feeling.
Is there something which can observe the yes and no? Something higher than the yes and no? Is that consciousness? Consciousness, which is observing the yes. It is not on the yes side, it is not on the no side. It is something which is beyond that. And if we can bring that third factor in, then all our decisions will always be the right decision. How do we bring the third factor in? How do we bring the third factor in? Otherwise, we are living life in duality. From this side we'll swing to this side we'll swing to this side. Today we'll fall in love with somebody, after 6 months we'll say So we'll keep on swinging in life. So we want to bring in consciousness, and consciousness is that which is aware of the yes and aware of the no at the same time. How will that come? What is the first step towards that? There must be feeling of self. There must be feeling of self. And that feeling of self sees that it is struggling between two, and it throws light on that, not in favor of one or the other, and in that light, that feeling of self, there is an upliftment of the feeling of self, you make the right decision. Can you see this? Not what I like or dislike, but something which lifts me to a higher state of exaltation or lowers me. So that can only come if there is a feeling of I, and we have to practice this. We have to practice this every moment, in every small decision of life. So you start from tomorrow, right? That tomorrow you want to go and do this work, this work, this work. And then you say, wait a moment, Have I taken the I into consideration? The I who is going to? Right? And try to sense that I. Try to feel that I. Then weigh everything and see in which place that I is getting an upliftment. And this will help you to move beyond the logical mind, somewhere beyond the logical mind. You go into making more decisions, better decisions, right? Okay, then we'll just see. Now, now we are going to do a technique. Right? So, what is the technique we want to do? What is the technique we want to do?
Find the self.
We want to, if we can calm the logical mind, which is struggling between yes and no, necessary and unnecessary, important and unimportant. If we can calm that logical mind and still hold what we want to do, then maybe we will connect with something different. How are we going to connect? Now we are going to try a way. We're going to practice this. That you'll have to practice. I'm not going to practice for you. Huh? So we're going to use breathing. Okay? So now, how many times in a minute do we breathe? How many times in a minute do we breathe? Normal man should breathe 12 per minute, but usually he is breathing 18 breaths per minute. Right? He is breathing at 18 breaths a minute. So we are going to practice every day. We will start with 10 minutes, where we will slow down our breathing. Right? We will slow down our breathing. So we keep a watch and we'll start breathing in slow, 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 slow. Initially we may be able to take it up to 20 seconds. Then we'll breathe out, out, out. It may be 20 seconds. Maybe less than that, because we may not be able to hold. So say from 18 or 15 or 18 breaths a minute, we come down to 4 to 5 breaths a minute. Right? Slowly we'll come to a stage where we are breathing at 1 breath a minute. So, and as our breathing is going slow, 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 just 1 breath a minute, this logical mind for some time will stop working. Now, as before we sit down and we've slowed down our breath completely, we will take the question which we have. We will see all the yes side of it and the no side of it, both the sides. We have seen everything, right? We will slow down our breathing, slow down the breathing. The yes will go away, the no will go away, the logical mind will calm down, and in that moment we will wait. Just wait. And because we are breathing only 1 breath per second, this monkey cannot do anything, right? And we will get the right answer. And this is what we are going to practice on all the big decisions in our life. We want to take those decisions from something beyond the, logical mind. So the easiest way is to use the breathing. So practice from today. Start with 4 to 5 breaths a minute, come down to 2 breaths a minute, and slowly within a month or so reach 1 breath a minute. Remember to sit down every day for 10 minutes where you're breathing only 1 breath a minute. What are your important decisions you have to make? First see all this side of the decision, that side of the decision. Don't say that, oh, I don't have to do my homework. Don't say I don't have to do. You have to do your homework. Right? Do your homework, do everything the logical mind has to do, then sit down for 10 minutes, start breathing at one breath a minute. Moments will come where your breathing will stop for 1 or 2 minutes completely. You'll be without breath. This in yoga is called as kumbhak. You won't be breathing, you'll be in a different state of separation. Some higher mind will open up. And in that, you'll get the right answer, something will connect. You'll get the right answer to what you have to do. It's a very, very simple technique. Right? So, okay. Any question on this till now? Otherwise we'll talk about something else. Any question on this? Now, supposing we want something very badly, what will we do? If we want something very badly, something which is in my bank balance, not something which is completely, stupid, like something which I can say is in my destiny. So from my destiny, I want it to manifest and come to me. How will we do it? How will we do it? I can't say something which is not in my destiny. Right? I can't say that, okay, I want to be the richest man in the world. It's not in my destiny. So even if I do anything, it's not going to work that way. But something which is in my destiny, supposing I want to say I want a little money for comfortable living, that is it in my destiny? It has to be in my destiny. Is there a way to work with the breath towards that? Work with the breathing towards that. So the first thing, how to connect to the inner intuition, slow down the breath, work on this every day for 10 minutes. Second thing is, now I have a specific thing which I want to materialize, and how will I materialize it? How will I materialize it? Visualization, okay, but I want to ask for it in such a way. What do they say in what do you call law? What do they say? A dying man's declaration is valid in a court of law. Right? So even in the law of life, the dying man's declaration is valid. So I don't want to die for it. Right? I don't want to die for it, but I want to nearly die for it. So how will we manifest it? Right? So first of all, we have to decide that what we are asking for, is it normal? Right? I can't ask for anything negative. Right? That I take revenge on you or something like that. So I won't ask for anything negative. Because it can only come back to me. Right? Then I will see that it is not harming anybody. It is not harming anybody. Now, I want to make a dying declaration. How do I make a dying declaration? And the dying declaration is accepted. It is accepted in a court of law, in a higher court of laws. How is it accepted? How is it accepted? You have visualization, but it has to be done at the right time. How do I visualize? How do I visualize? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll breathe out, breathe out, breathe out and hold the breath out. And we'll hold the breath out till now. If I don't breathe, I'm going to die. Till I can't breathe. So at that moment, my subconscious mind, my unconscious mind, my physical body, every cell of the body is asking for only one thing. What is it asking for? Breath. Breath. And at that time I visualize that this is what I want. Right? And then I calm down, again breathe in slowly. Again I breathe out. I breathe out. I breathe out. Hold the breath. Again come to a point now, one more second if I hold, I'll die. Of course I won't die, I'll fall down unconscious and I'll start breathing, so don't worry. Right? So nobody dies. You'll become unconscious. You won't die. So, but I breathe out and I hold the breath, and in that I'm dying for breath. Everything wants only breath. At that time I visualize that this is what I want. I'm giving it to the universal mind, and again I start breathing in. Don't make this taken for granted practice, because then I'm not dying. I have to die. It has to be a dying declaration. Right? It has to be a dying declaration. So I do this 5 times. Every night, or whenever I'm sitting for my breathing exercise, I do this 5 times. Ask for something which is in your bank balance, not outside of your bank balance. So from that, it manifests down in your destiny, right? And it will work. It will work, right? Okay. So 2 things we have decided: how to make a decision, right? And how to ask from life, how to connect with the inner intuition. Now, is it good to decide or not good to decide? Is it good to decide? This is a very powerful technique I've given you. Very, very powerful technique. It's much more powerful than the secret and all that nonsense which is floating around. A lot of nonsense floating around. So, okay. Is it good to make decisions? Yes. Yes. Because weak people cannot decide. Right? So, what is the greatest decision in life? What is the greatest decision in life? To become a Tell me. Disciple. To become a disciple. The highest relationship is between master and disciple. It's the highest relationship in life. That does not mean you become a disciple of a master. You become a disciple of life. What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? That every moment we are in the attitude of surrender. A disciple is always in the attitude of surrender. Right? Surrender means that he is not willing to react to anything, because in that attitude of surrender there is spiritual will, and spiritual will means that whatever is absolutely right. I don't want to change anything. So, a disciple lives in the attitude of surrender. The most difficult decision in life is to become a disciple, a student of life. It needs a lot of courage. Don't think that if something is decided before we are a disciple. Like if I am born into a Hindu home and I come and bow at the temple, it has no meaning. I am not a disciple. Right? That has been given to me. I have not taken that decision. Right? So I will say, okay, I am born in a Hindu family, so I come to the temple, I am a disciple. Has no meaning. The disciple means surrender to life. Surrender each moment in life. Right? What will come out of that? Not faith, not blind faith, not blind faith, but what will come. If I can surrender to life, what will come? What will come? Something which is alive. Trust. Trust that every moment life will take care of me. I don't have to ask for anything. Even though I've taught you how to ask. I don't have to ask for anything. Right? So, what is the second most important decision? What is the second most important decision? To get married. Right? A person who does not get married, he moves from one lover to another lover to a third lover. Right? We admire such persons. We say, he's a girl's man or something.
He follows the law of the pendulum.
Huh?
He follows the law of the pendulum.
Right. Is he escaping from life? Is he weak? He's not willing to go in the depth of life? Right? He's not willing to commit himself to life. Right? He's frightened of committing in one relationship. So he keeps on moving from one to the other to the third. And it is the same thing in spirituality. People move from one guru to the second guru to the third guru. In the end, they have not gone anywhere. Right? So, decision, and then to commit yourself and to move into that relationship and find happiness which is already there inside through the relationship. Through the relationship. Right? So, just a little bit on decision making. Right? But I thought I'll just talk to you about. I didn't know you didn't give me any topic today. So.
No, nice, very good. Most of us are. So nice.
Now, a few small things. Whenever you have to decide anything, if you are in stress, if you are in tension, never decide. Just forget about it. You will always make the wrong decision. Second thing, never listen to too many people. It is your decision, not somebody else's. Always ask the question inside, am I harming someone? Like he said, what is important and not important. Supposing I want to buy a car. Right? Now there are so many things in buying a car. One car will have a better, whatever, the transmission, the gear assembly. One car may have a little more comfort. One car, the air conditioning will be better. Right? And if I keep on spending months this car and that car, is it really worth it? It's not worth it. In the end, the car is going to take me from A place to B place, and any car is going to take me from A place to B place. Right? So, try to put a value on your decisions. How much of energy do you want to spend? How much of struggle do you want to go through, and whether it is worth it? It's not worth it. Right? So just buy whatever car comes your way and start moving ahead. Supposing you cannot decide. You cannot decide. What should we do? What should we do? Always give a time limit. I will decide in this much time. Now there is something called relativity. Relativity. And when you are faced with many decisions, you have to use the scale of relativity. Right? Supposing today I have to do so much work, this, and say one of them is going to this place and filling the bills, and one of them is going to this place and buying a pen. right? And the pen is 15 rupees. And somebody tells me that this pen is available a couple of miles away for 5 rupees. What do I do? What do I do?
You consider whether it's
I have to see the relativity of the situation.
situation.
Right? Huh? And whether it is worth going there for to save 10 rupees or not. Better to buy the pen for 15 rupees. Right? So, there's always a relativity involved in any decision making process. Try to relate. And relation is always through comparison. Compare each and every thing. Now, if there are two things and I can't make up my mind, what does it mean? Either this or that. And if I can't make up my mind, what does it mean? If I can't make up my mind.
It's an indecision.
It means that both are right. And if I choose any one of them, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference. Now, the final thing. Should it be a, what do you call, process where we have to decide so much? Is it a lot of baggage or is it something else? Supposing we are playing that game when we were children where all the cards are upside down and we have to find pairs of cards and we are going this, which is the pair. So, what is there in the decision making process? What is there in the decision making process? When we are playing the game, what is there? There is fun and enjoyment. Fun and enjoyment. And this is very, very important. Whenever you are deciding, are you deciding through fun and enjoyment, or are you deciding because you are carrying so many bags of weight on your shoulders? Right? Always decide through fun and enjoyment. As if you are looking for that card which matches this card, and there's so much whether pull this one, pull this one, pull this one. Right? And it's always fun and enjoyment. Even after you've decided, always be flexible, be open, that at any time you could want to move somewhere else. Right? So these are just few things. I can't talk very deep on aim because we've still not really gone into that for that inner consciousness. But it would be really nice if we could go deeper and what one day do what our inner aim is. Well, we still have some time if there are any questions. Yeah.
What about sleeping on a problem? You said about making decisions. What about sleeping on the problem when you can't make your mind?
See, if you're working with your dreams or something, or if there's a level of lucidity in the dreams, then you can sleep on a problem. That is why I said that bring down your breathing to a level where this thing comes down and wait for the answer. It will come. Correct? Another thing you can do is use the pendulum. So you use a pendulum, and that pendulum connects to something beyond the logical mind, the inner intuition, and it gives you the right answer. Have you brought your pendulum? Right.
I feel like the book, The Secret, talks about the laws of attraction and positive thinking. How is that different from what we've talked about now? Isn't that instilling positiveness?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It is the same thing. I just gave you a breathing technique. A breathing technique that I said is very powerful. More powerful than what the book talks about. So, and this breathing technique is very, very old. Much before the secret was there. So, you can try it. It's very good. I said, if everything inside, if we are asking for something in totality, it comes. Right? So when every cell of the body is asking for breath, if we put in what we want, it will come.
Could you help me with, if you want something real bad, then it must be in my destiny. And it mustn't be negative. Could you define in my destiny a little bit more what that really means? Because if it's in your destiny, I don't know if that's the future, or if it's something, it's like a really big goal that...
No, my teacher used to say your face is your fortune, your feet are your destiny. So before that I had another teacher and he used to say, सब कुछ नियोजित है फिर भी उसका आयोजन करना पड़ता है. Means everything is lying in your destiny, but you have to make the effort for it to come from there to you. But everything is not lying in our destiny. We have a spectrum. Can you understand that in this life so much can come to me, whether it is in physical, whether it is in relationship, whether it is in knowledge.
So that's, I suppose, what I was really trying to get across. If everything's not in our destiny, how do we know what is?
No, we can, that is why I said just be rational about it. Be rational about it. I'm very sure that so many things are not in my destiny. I can't ask for them.
But I've had plenty of people say to me, done this or done that, and I ignore them and I go and achieve what they said I couldn't do.
No, I don't get it.
No?
No, I don't get what you're saying.
Well, I've got a girlfriend who's always saying to me, be realistic. And I never am. I go beyond what she says.
Yeah, when she says realistic, she's saying be practical.
Something like that.
Yeah, she's saying be practical.
And I'm saying, no, I can do better than that.
Right, but first be practical, no?
So how does that work?
So
If
she's right. So again, if you're asking for something, be practical about it. Right? I may ask for a good car, but I want a Rolls Royce, then I know it's not in my destiny.
Yeah, but you could create that.
Is it worth it?
No, I don't want a Rolls Royce, but
Right, so what I'm trying to say, just see what is in my bank balance. If it's not in my bank balance, don't ask for it. This, what do you call, this asking is just writing of the check. Something which we already have, we don't know we have. But don't ask for something which we don't have. It is there. It is in some dimension of time, but still.
you wanted to solve a problem.
Me?
Invent something, or I don't know. Is that not in this?
You can ask for creative energy. There's something within me which has a creative purpose or a creative energy, and I can hold my breath and say I want that to ignite within me, that intelligence which creates. Right? And you may be able to create something. Can you get what I'm trying to say?
A little bit.
Yeah, that in my life there is a part of my brain which is I'm not using, but which has the capacity to create something. There's the energy of creativity. So I can hold my breath and say I want that part of the brain to become active.
But I don't think you said it at the last lectures, but you create more connections.
More connections. So I'll start creating in life. And it may start with small things, just do with my normal gardening every day. No? With arranging my things. So bring more creativity in life. But if you say you want to design a new 50-story tower or something, definitely it's not going to happen.
No, you are exactly.
That's not in my destiny.
Unless I wanted to study and be able to.
But you can ask for creativity and you can ask for joy from that creativity also. No? Well,
What is the significance of the number 108?
what?
108. 108.
The significance of 108.
8. Yeah.
See, there are two movements in life. One is an outer movement and one is an inner movement. In an outer movement, I say I move from Sunday to Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday. This is a chronological movement. Right? But there is an inner movement also, where maybe I have to do something on Sunday which relates to something on Wednesday. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? So Wednesday somebody is coming to meet me, right? And say I have to give him a cake, but I know that 3 days it takes me to prepare the cake. So I can't go in chronological time. I have to do something on Sunday that it's ready on Wednesday. Okay? You get what I'm trying to say? So there are two. One is a sequential movement in life and one is an inner movement in life. Right? And this inner movement in life, it follows a certain motion, which is called a clockwise motion and anti-clockwise motion. And this inner motion, it works into this sequential motion at 3 points. 3 points. And these are, so if you go in sequential 1, 2, at 3 is also a part of sequential, it is also a part of the inner movement. So 3, 6 and 9, it is something which they call the inner triangle. So there is an outer movement of activities, there is a clockwise and anti-clockwise movement of activities, and there is an inner, what do you call, a triangle on which everything stands, and that those numbers are 3, 6 and 9. So everything moves in this 1 to 9, again 1 to 9, 1 to 9, and in this repetition of 1 to 9 is symbolized by 108. This complete sequence of life. Right? So if you go into 108 will be divided by 3 also, it will be divided by 6 also, it will be divided by 9 also. So it is that number which signifies that I have gone through one circle, one period of life, in anything. It could start from small things, that I am, putting water in something, then it is it is sprouting, then I'm taking those sprouts and putting it in oil, I'm sauteing it, then I'm putting it on the dish. All this could be one outer circular movement, but within that there are so many small inner movements. I put a little salt here, I put a little this thing here, and by the time I start from the beginning and I finish, it all matches into an inner movement of 108. This was the inner cycle given. That is why they gave the number 108. From alpha to omega, the full completion, right? And that is divided into 3 points of 3, 6 and 9. At those points I have to do something very important. So 36 into 3 will make 108. Yeah? Or 18 into 6 will make 108. And 12 into 9 will make 108. So if you see, again the breathing which we are doing at 12, 18, 36. Can you see the 8? It's all related to this 108 and it's related to these inner cycles of life. Right? Now all the chakras are in these movements, 12, 18, 36. It could be even 1200, 1800 and 3600, but they all are in these relative movements. Everything added up to 108. So that is why we have 108. It's a complete movement in life of anything you do. Supposing you've got your degree now. So now you go through the steps which you went through when you were young, you started learning ABC, this, that, and you put it into a complete octave. Then you will see at certain points something came to help you. And from one thing you shifted to something higher. Again at certain points something came to help you. You shifted from one lower thing to something higher. And these will be the points 3, 6 and 9. Right? And by the time you reach 9, you reach your thing, it's the complete circle, it is 108. It is signified by 108. So all the inner movements of life, they move in these different cycles. But in the end, they all total to 108, one complete octave.
So it's related to the law of octaves.
Related to the law of octaves. Related to the law of octaves. So, in any activity I do in life, for some time everything goes smoothly, then obstacles start coming up. Right? Now, supposing I take an octave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, new octave starts. Right? So 1 should move to 2. But there is an inner movement. Because at 1, something at 3 is going to come in which is an obstacle. Which I don't know because I am sitting at 1. I can't see 3. This is what we are talking about when we are making decisions. We can't see what is beyond. But it is already decided. At the time I started my activity, this was already decided that at 3, something was going to come which is going to disturb my activity. Right? It may, I say I do the exercises, but I'll do it for say 2 months, and the 3rd month or something is going to come. There will be a marriage in the family, somebody's exam will be there, or some other problem, somebody falls ill, I fall ill, something is going to come. It's already decided when I started. Can you now understand what I'm trying to say? And that is going to come at a certain point. And these points, they connect, 3, 6, 9, they connect to 108. Now if I know from beforehand, then at that point when it is going to come in, I know the science, then I will do something to help. So if it is going to come in 3, then 1 will be connected to 4. So there will be an inner movement of 1, 4, 2. 1, 4, 2. Anti-clockwise. And there will be another movement. So we'll have the whole thing of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Within that there will be a triangle which will connect to 108, where the obstacles will come, 3, 6 and 9. And then we have the inner movement. We have one outer movement pole, we have one triangle where the obstacles come in life, and one inner movement which, if we know the inner movement, we know how to go over the obstacles. So 1 will connect to 4. And 4 will connect to something else, and that will connect to something. And there are these 3 complete movements in life. One is an outer chronological movement. One is where the obstacles are going to come. They are going to come to meet us. And if we don't go over the obstacles, then what we have decided in the beginning, we will be reversing direction. We will be moving in another direction. I went to earn 100 rupees, but an obstacle came. I lost 100 rupees and I came back home. I reversed my direction. You understand what I'm trying to say? And this is in every activity in life. And this is all there in that figure of 108. 108. That is why it's so important. But you don't have to be mathematically correct as 108. This is a way of signifying. People that, I must 100, not one more, not one less. Then that's stupidity. You brought in the logical mind. The monkey. That 108 is to take you beyond the monkey. They'll be very strict, it has to be 108. So then you've lost the essence of everything. You lost the essence. But the essence is that there are 3 movements in life. A sequential movement, right? A movement which is going to come to stop the sequence. And there is another movement which goes over the obstacles and continues the sequential movement. And that is the 3rd movement in life. And these 3 movements in life are always moving together, and they follow certain laws. Right? And those laws we'll take next year.
So the two movements will be the octave meeting another octave, and then to overcome the obstacle there will be a shock.
There's a shock. And that shock is where you take help from some other octave. Right? So I've reached a point in my business where there is some obstacle. So I take the help of the bank. And I overcome that obstacle. Right? So in that, this thing I need help. And I need help from something higher. If my ego comes over there that I won't take help, then I won't be able to. Then there'll be change of direction. So I went out to do something, but I'll now go in the opposite direction. You get what I'm trying to say? So these three movements I have to learn in life. And hopefully next year I want to take them. Three movements. How to see these three movements in life. And in everything there are three movements in life. An outer movement, an inner movement, and something which is going to come in the way. Right? The inner movement we call as sattva, the outer movement we call as rajas, and the inner which is going to come in the way we call as tamas. Right? The three movements in life. And they move in a particular way, a particular sequence, a particular law. And this is in every activity. Every activity. Many people come to me and they say, we are going to do this, we'll buy this for 2 rupees and we'll sell for 4 rupees. So much profit we are going to make. And I know that they are not seeing, they are only seeing the outer movement. They are not seeing anything else. And I know in the end they are going to lose 2 rupees. Because it's already decided from the beginning. It's already decided from the beginning. But this is an outer. Similarly, there's a movement inside. All the systems of the body are working together in a certain coordination. Right? So supposing you take the nervous system in the body, it is that nervous system in the body which controls all the other systems. Right? Again, the nervous system has a conscious part, a sympathetic part, a parasympathetic part. Again, within that there is 3. You get it? Now, if you see how many systems are in the body, 6. And within each system is again 3. You get it? So you have the skeletal system, you have the blood system, you have the respiratory system, you have the elimination system, you have the digestive system. All these systems are a part of the body, in the end controlled by the nervous system. And they are all working according to these laws. Now this is in the physical body. But as we move on to subtle fields of life, the laws are the same. And once we understand these laws, then that which is unseen to us, which we cannot see in life, the inner movements of life suddenly open up. Then we know that this is how things work. Right? So that is all there in that one figure of 108.
So we can only see these laws if we practice self-observation.
If you want to see them inside, but if you want to study in life, then you have to make a study. So in everything, supposing that I want to cook a meal for 20 people tomorrow, right? So there will be an octave in the kitchen, and that octave will add up to 108. 108 is the final meal which I am giving to everyone. But in that making that meal, there are going to be so many problems which will come in, and those problems are going to come at certain times. And I will see those problems from the beginning, and I know they have to come, and what I am going to do, and that will be a different movement inside. You get it? So these 3 movements will be there. And it's in everything in life, every activity of life. To understand this and see this. And if we've understood this, we have understood the highest law of life. The highest law. And as our perception in that law increases and goes deeper, then we know everything in life. We know it because nothing is outside these laws. Everything works according to these laws. The thing is, it takes a long period of practice and observation. Okay. We'll stop over here. Thank you. Tomorrow is a holiday. No talk.
Thank you. somebody else's experience.
To put it into to apply the knowledge. Right, okay. Is there some difference between knowing and understanding? Knowing and understanding. What difference is there between knowing and understanding? What is the difference between knowing and understanding?
Knowing is like not applying.
Knowing is from the head, and understanding is from the heart. Knowing is from the head, and understanding is from the heart. So, with understanding, what comes? What kind of quality comes with understanding? If I've understood something, what kind of quality will come? What kind of quality?
Joy. Joy.
Joy means something of the quality of love. Because understanding comes from the heart. So when I understand something, right, the quality is from the heart. There is something, the energy of the heart comes in, something of the quality of love. Right? Now, for an exam, what do we have to do? Do we have to just memorize everything, or do we have to understand everything? Both. Both. Everything we don't understand, but we have to make an effort. Now, all the moments in our life where we have understood something, do they gather together? Do they gather together? Supposing I have understood something today, I again understand something tomorrow, I again understand something else, and it goes on. All these moments of understanding, do they gather together? Do they come together? So every time my capacity to understand becomes deeper and better. Right? Okay. Now, how many types of attention are there? How many types of attention? Three. Right? So if I'm driving a car, do I have to pay too much attention, or does it happen automatically? I don't have to pay too much attention. It's a very ordinary attention. But if I'm reading a thriller novel or seeing a serial on TV, then what kind of attention? What kind of attention? Attracted attention, right? I'm interested in the serial. But for my exam, which kind of attention do I need? For my exam, which kind of attention do I need? I have to direct the attention. I have to make an effort to direct the attention. So, we'll say there are three kinds of attention. Zero attention. When I'm driving a car or doing something, I don't have to really pay too much attention. So, zero attention, attracted attention, but the most important is directed attention, to direct attention. So, if a person does not study, does not want to study, what does it mean? What does it mean? He does not want them to make the effort to hold his attention. He does not want to make the effort to hold his attention. Right? So, we have to know what is the quality of our attention, and every day we must make an effort to increase the quality of our attention. Which exercise are we doing for that? The prism. The prism exercise. How many of you know the prism exercise? How many of you know? You all know the prism exercise, right? Very good. You are doing it, or you just know it? Only know it. Not doing it. Okay. So we must practice the prism exercise, few minutes every day, the quality of our attention increases, it gets better, we are able to study better, right? We are able to grasp better, pay attention better. Okay.
Rajen, can you just do it again just for the benefit?
Yeah. Take a white cloth, put it like this, put the any pointed part, because this is an equilateral prism, what do you call it? And it's 32 millimeter, right? So we put it like this. See that this is about 1 foot from the middle of the prism, and just look into the prism, deep into the prism. Okay, the glasses. And just keep on looking through and through the prism, as if the prism has no bottom. And at one point, if your thoughts stop, the prism will vanish. Right? Immediately a thought will come, the thought prism has gone away, it will come back again. Right? But as you relax yourself and keep looking through the prism, you will be able to hold the prism in that vanished state for half a minute, 1 minute, right? And that will make your attention very, very powerful. So you can do this exercise every day, the prism exercise.
For how long?
5 minutes. Put a timer for 5 minutes. Don't look at the time, right? Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about energy. Do we have a pen or a board?
Yeah.
So if we are studying for an exam, we got to plan for energy. How are we going to use our energy? So we say man is a 3-story, our body-brain system is a 3-story building. 3 stories, the lower story, the middle story, the upper story. The upper story we will call as thinking, the middle story we will call as feeling, the lower story we will call as moving. These are the 3 functions in the, building which we call man, right? Thinking, feeling, moving, right? Now each of these functions, it gets energy to do something. So supposing we want to think, we get energy from 2 petrol pumps, right? They provide the energy to think. These petrol pumps are called as accumulators. Again, feeling will have to, again, moving will have to, right? Like that. Now, supposing I sit down to study, after some time I am going to feel tired, my attention won't stick, right? What has happened? What has happened? In relation to this, supposing I am using my thinking center to study, right? If I am using my thinking center to study, say after 45 minutes, this thing which is giving me energy is empty.
Like a battery. Like a battery.
Like a battery, it is empty. It's like a battery. Battery is an accumulator. Battery is an accumulator, right? So it is empty. What will happen? I'll start feeling sleepy, I'll start feeling tired, I'll need a break. And it will take some time, at least a few minutes, say 3 to 5 minutes, for the thinking center to switch from this to this. Right? So I'll take a say 5-minute break. And then from this I will start again taking energy and studying. Whilst all these are connected to one large accumulator, and and it will start filling itself up from this large accumulator. After 45 minutes, what will happen? This one will get over, Where do you see this? Where do you see the reflection of this? Where do you see the reflection of this? In school. Where do you see the reflection of this? In the school.
In the sun, when the sun goes down to the time.
No. In school, all the periods are of 45 minutes. This was originally, there was a scientific reason behind this. Now, of course, it's forgotten. Right? So, 45 minutes for this to get empty. Now, this will vary from person to person. Somebody may get over in 1 hour. Somebody is very aggressive about the studying, then he'll use it up in half an hour. Right? But we are taking approximate that 45 minutes one will get over. Then it will take 5 minutes to switch from here to here. It won't take 5 minutes, it will take 2-3 minutes, but we take a 5-minute break. And then this will get over. But this may not fill up from here in 45 minutes. It may not fill up from here. So supposing it only gets half full. It gets half full. So then again we switch from here to here. But now we will not be able to study properly for 45 minutes. We will be able to study for 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, this will hardly accumulate will hardly fill any energy from here. So, supposing we say we can study 10 more minutes. So, 45, 45, 90, 110 and 2 hours. Right? 2 hours with 5-5-minute breaks in between. So we have to plan our study on the science of the body-brain system, giving us the psychic energy needed to study. We can't say I'll study for 5 hours. It is not possible. Because if these two empty completely, then there is a chance I'm going to fall ill. Or I'll feel negative, I may feel lonely, I may feel depressed or something of that. So we have to plan our studying in a very scientific way, that I have a capacity to study for say 100 minutes or 120 minutes, 2 hours. Right? And I don't want to study for more than that time, then I'm going to take at least half-hour break where these fill up again and I'm ready to study again. Right? So you must plan it in phases of 2 hours, in between 45 minutes and 20 minutes you will take 2-3 breaks of 5 minutes each. Right? Okay. Now, once we have understood this is very, very important, because what happens, people overuse the accumulators. They misuse the accumulators, and then before exam they either fall sick, or they are depressed, or they start feeling fearful, they are frightened. So many things will happen. They misuse the system of the body. Right? Now, how will we plan our studying according to this? How will we plan our study according to this? How will you plan? You will say that, okay, I will sit for a period of 45 minutes. Now, what will you do before that? What will you do before that? You will first see that the whole study area has everything you need. Otherwise, what happens? You will sit down, after 5 minutes you will feel a little itchy, you will say, okay, let me have a glass of water. Again after 5 minutes you feel itchy, let me get a packet of wafers. Again after 5 minutes you will feel itchy, let me get some Coca-Cola. Right? So we don't want to do that. So everything we need has to be there, over there. Right, from pencils, rubbers, whatever, your laptop or whatever you need has to be over there. That we have decided beforehand. Then what do we do? For that first 45 minutes, we make a rule that we will not get up for 45 minutes. We will not get up for 45 minutes, right? So once we have sat down, see, it's not that you study, I am now this year I'm going to be 60 years old, right? But maybe I study more than all of you all. So I keep on having camps and I have to study, right? And I don't know how much of time you all put in, but I have this rule. Once I sit down, then whether I feel thirsty, whether I have to go to the bathroom, whatever happens, I will not get up for 40 minutes. That's my rule. Right? I sit down and I've already decided beforehand in this 40 minutes how much work I am going to get. And if I am not able to take that much work, then I punish myself. No chocolates for 2 days, no ice cream, nothing. Right? Punish yourself. If you can't do what you have planned to do in those 40 minutes. Right? Now, how will you plan those 40 minutes? How will you plan those 40 minutes? How will you plan? Tell me. What will you plan in those 40 minutes? I have a very simple system. I write notes like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. I keep on typing my notes this way. Very simple system I have. Tell me, how will you plan those 40 minutes? I have a thing that I write 5 lines and then I pause. And then I question myself on the 5 lines which I have written. Then again I write 5 lines. Again I question myself on the 5 lines I have written. I don't keep on writing unless I have an immediate deadline that I have to, within 1 hour be on the lecture hall or something like that. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? So you write 5 lines, you write 10 lines, and you stop over there and you go back. Do I know? Right? Okay. How many people write in the computer, how many write by hand, and how many love to write the notes in the textbook only? Where do you write your notes? Or nobody writes notes? How do you write your notes? Do you like to type your notes? Do you like to write by hand? Some people like to write only in the textbook, directly in the textbook. Where do you write your notes? Tell me, where do you write your notes? By hand? Or you type them? How do you type them? 1, 2, 3, 4, or how do you type them?
Just type it.
Okay, and you ask yourself questions after 5 lines? Okay, so you pause after 5 or 10 lines, and then just close your eyes and say, what have I written in these 5 or 10 lines? Right. How many write in the textbook? Nobody writes in the textbook. Okay. My guru used to write in the book itself. He never wrote notes like this. Then he would get the other notes typed out, but a lot of his notes were written only in the books. Right? So if you want to write notes in the book, then you make a copy of the book and you tell the person who's making the copy to keep a large right or left margin. So that gives you space to write in the. Okay. Now, about writing notes, what is the most important thing about writing notes? Most important thing about writing notes?
That you understand what you write.
Pardon?
That you understand.
Yeah, but not just understand. What else? That you are going to read these notes after 3 months or maybe 6 months. Right? So if you've written in some shorthand, just now the ideas are very clear in your mind, but when you read them, those ideas are not going to be with you. You're going to be blank. So you have to write them in such a way that after 3 months, I'll be able to understand what I have written. You get it? Otherwise, many times we write notes and then we look at, I can't understand what I have written. Nothing is clear. So it's very important. Right. So first thing is, divide your time into parts of 2 hours. Make half hour to 40-minute breaks between them. Then again divide them into 40 minutes and 30 minutes or 20 minutes and 10 minutes. Right? And make an aim, make an objective that this much work I will cover in 40 minutes and try to cover that work. Right? So this should be most important. Right? Now, another thing is procrastination. I will do it tomorrow. I will do it tomorrow. Right? So tomorrow does not exist. Tomorrow does not exist. So make a sort of habit inside. Whenever the monkey says tomorrow, immediately go and do it. Immediately go and do it. Don't waste time. Drop your cereal, drop whatever you have to drop. Go and do it. Right? How many people like to draw diagrams? Right? That is, you are so many things. If you can classify it in the diagrams, then just looking at that diagram, you are refreshed about everything. Is it possible? So many things. You can just put it into a diagram and it becomes very easy to study. Now, latest studies have said that reading out aloud, reading loudly, gives you a 50% better chance of remembering. A 50% better chance of remembering. Right? So, how many of us read aloud? Right? What can you add to that? What can you add to that? What can you add? You've seen some people, they instead of talking, they sing. Have you seen some people? We'll say, how are you? And they will say, how are you? Right? So, what happens if we bring a little bit of singing into what happens? Not only just reading aloud, but a little bit of singing also. What happens? What happens?
Remember it better.
Huh?
Remember it better, it's fun.
You make it more fun, and instead of the head, you are now working with the heart. Working with the heart. The heart is much faster than the head. It can grasp much more than the head. The head is digital, it can only do one thing at a time. The heart has parallel processing, it can do many things at the same time. So it's very important when you sit down to study to move from the head to the heart. Move from the head to the heart. How will we move from the head to the heart? How will we move? See, whenever I sit down, the first thing I do is I put this monkey on the side. I move into the heart. Right? And the heart understands things much faster, much better. So, supposing we are sitting here, we want to move to the heart. How will we move to the heart? So, we close our eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Sit up. Close your eyes. Right? And with your eyes closed, look in your heart. Look in your heart. And there in your heart, see a young baby, a young child smiling at you. It could be your own child, your younger brother, younger sister, elder brother, elder sister, whatever. Now just see a young child smiling at you and smile back. Try to smile into your heart at that young child. The child is smiling at you and you're smiling back. Just smile, relax into that smile. Totally relax into the smile. No tension, don't make your face tense. Relax your face first. Relax the face first. Just smile at that young child. Let the young child smile back at you. Okay, slowly open your eyes. Right? So, anytime you're feeling, see, the heart does not know how to struggle, only the head knows how to struggle. So anytime we feel we are struggling, anytime we feel we are climbing up a ladder, anytime we feel things are not moving, then we are always in the head. Move to the heart. Close your eyes, relax, move to the heart. Right? And this will help you a lot. Even in between, say 20 minutes, you just stop for half a minute move to the heart, again start working again. The quality of the work will be much better if you can work from the heart. Now don't just read at one stretch a ton of it. Right? Write your notes, understand what you have written, and make notes of what you don't understand, what you can't grasp. And decide how you are going to do, what you are going to do about it. Are you going to ask your friend? Are you going to read it from a book? Or are you going to ask your teacher for help? And don't leave it to the last moment. Because last moment you go to your teacher for help, he or she may not be available. Right? So make a note of all the difficult things which you need help upon. Right? This time in Cape Town I took a new subject altogether and I needed help, so I called one of my cousins who had lectured a lot on that subject, and I told him that I need your notes and everything. Now, if I called him at the last moment, he may not have been able to send me the notes. But because I called him 1 month in advance, he sent me all his notes and they were very helpful. Right? Now, how will you keep your study area? How will you keep your study area? Is it keep it untidy and don't clean it for days? Keep it a little clean at least. Keep it in a way that you don't have to look for anything. Everything is very handy. Don't make too big a study area. Try to keep your study area as portable as possible. Why do you want to keep it portable? Why do you want to keep it portable? So anytime you feel that you want to just take your study area with you, what you're taking, you want to go out in the garden and read, you can go out in the garden and your board and your pen and your notes and everything, your laptop is with you, you just take everything there, sit under a tree and you can start immediately. And it's also been studied that just sitting and studying at one place, if you keep changing your places of study to different places in nature, it helps you to study much more. Right? Try to study with friends whenever you get the time. Now, use key words, key sentences for different things. Make your own sentences. Right? When we used to learn all the 12 nerves starting from the brain, which are the cranial nerves, there used to be sentences. You mug up those sentences and you know all the nerves, right? So, this is called mnemonic reasoning. If you see the Indian scriptures, the Sanskrit scriptures, nobody ever wrote down anything. And they were all passed down from by word of mouth for thousands and thousands of years, right? Because Sanskrit is a very mnemonic language. When you sing the slok, it's very easy to remember it. Because you're singing the slok or you're reciting a sutra. And once you recite the sutra, it's very easy to remember it. So it's a very mnemonic language. So make these small mnemonic aids in study. Now supposing you're studying at the last moment, you've not studied the whole year, and you're studying at the last moment, what will you do? How will you plan it? You will do the whole course? It's not possible. It's not possible. I'm saying you study at the last moment. But supposing you are studying at the last moment, then you will have to decide exactly in so much time how much you can do. Right? And what is the best way to study at the last moment? Which is the best way to study at the last moment? Go through old question papers. Go through old question papers. It's the best way to study. And there's one more way. I don't know if it's available here in India. It's a very fast way of studying. Which is that? Read the guide. Read the guide. I don't know, you get guides here? You get guides here? Right, okay. But that doesn't mean you study at the last one. Now there's something new which science is talking about, and that is called mind mapping. What is mind mapping? What is mind mapping? Mind mapping. What is mind mapping? Not taught you in school. Huh? Not taught you in school. Okay. Now, they say that everything flows in the brain in fixed pathways. In fixed pathways. That means, supposing you insult me and I get angry, then that meaning which I have taken of what you say, insult, it has flown it has moved along a pathway which I have used many times. Many times. So, mind mapping is a technique of creating new pathways in the brain. Creating new pathways in the brain. And one of the techniques which they use is to rewrite your old notes. To rewrite your old notes in a different way. In a different way. So you can plan for your year ahead. I've got 1 year to the exam. Plan everything. And maybe you can put in a month or something where you will rewrite everything you have written. And that will create new pathways in the brain. Different mental associations. Right. Now, how many people need music while studying? Does music help? Does music help? Today, a lot of psychological studies are saying that for those whose attention is weak, music is a big help in studying. And I use a lot of music when I'm writing my notes. I use a lot of music. So the music is on and I write my notes and I'm studying at the same time. But it depends on you whether you can do it.
What kind of music? What kind of music? What kind of the teenagers want to listen to?
Rock and roll? Anything. Doesn't matter. Rihanna will do.
Is it background music or in your headphones or the music?
Whichever. So, but I have found music helps a lot. Sometimes when there's something very deep which I cannot understand, then I have to put the music on the side. Now I'll tell you one thing. At present I'm reading one book, right? And that book was written by a person called Gurdjieff. And he took 30 years to write the book. Right? And he would write one chapter and he would give it to his disciples to read. And he would look at his disciples from far, and if he saw on the face of any of his disciples that they have understood what he has written, he would rewrite the chapter. Right? And then till that chapter was read by everybody and they were all like this, they cannot understand anything, then the chapter was passed. Right? And it took him 30 years to write that book. At present I am reading that book. So now you can imagine that each line I have to read at least 20 times. Because it's so difficult to understand what he has put in the book. So how many of us have to keep on reading the same line? Keep on reading. Then music becomes a hindrance at such a time, where you have to keep on reading the same line. But if you are flowing in a certain understanding, then music can be a help. Now, on the same day we have written the notes, is it necessary to revise? Just go through those notes once on the same day. It's very important. Otherwise, those notes become alien to us also. Our own notes. Okay? Now, different subjects need different styles. Mathematics needs a different style from history. Right? So, you have to decide which way like maths will need a lot of practice, but history may not need a lot of practice. What does history need? What does history need? Maths needs practice. What does history need? Very easy, very easy. What does it need?
Memory.
Understanding.
Visualization. Visualization. You have to visualize. So when you're reading Alexander with his armies on the banks of the Jhelum with his 323 BC, and he's now ready to move into India, you have to visualize Alexander in his armor with his army. Then it becomes very mnemonic. Then history becomes very easy. But if you're just, lazily reading through it, then nothing is going to happen. So you have to make use of the brain, the mind, vision in history. If they're talking about a king, then you won't forget anything. You'll never forget anything. So, if you can, whenever you're doing history, always visualize. Always visualize that it is happening in front of you. It is exactly happening in front of you. Now, supposing we've seen one subject and we decide that, okay, this part of the subject is very hard and difficult and this part is easy. What will we do first? The easy part. We'll be through with the easy part. Be through with the easy part and then spend more time on the difficult part. More time on the difficult part. Time is getting up. One more thing I want to tell you. Now I have one this is my personal thing, I call it sneak in. Sneak in. And over the years it has paid me very, very big dividends. And usually at night I see 1 to 2 serials. Either I see CSI or I see Person of Interest or something of that sort, right? So if I'm seeing a serial, then I always have made this a habit that you get 3 to 5 minute gaps of what you call advertisement. Advertisement, right? I never switch to another channel. And I've kept my work ready on the table at the side of me. So the minute the serial goes into what you call an advertisement, right? I put it on mute and I take up my work and I don't work a lot, I just take 3 lines and I've got to, in these 3 minutes or 5 minutes, I want to know these 3 lines properly. And it has really helped me a lot over the years. I'll tell you one thing that 2 years ago, one Jain Muni, he said that nowhere has it been written on the science of sound, as in the Indian Shastra. And when we study physics, I don't know if any of you are studying physics, when you study physics, you study sound. You study light, you study heat. But the rishis, they went very, very deep into sound. But that is hidden in such a way that nobody knows anything. They talk a little bit about mantra. So he told me that I want you to take a camp for 3 days only on sound energy and how to use that sound energy in mantra and everything. What is the meaning of language? How did language get formed, etc. And I had only 1.5 months with me to do that work. And I remember that a lot of that work was being done seeing the serials at night. I would stop over there, pause, and in those 3 to 5 minutes I would cover up a lot. And I would already plan in advance. When I would sit down for the serial, this much of work will be covered. I call that sneak in, right? So you can do that also. Now, another thing which I have seen is rosemary oil. You can buy some rosemary oil, keep a cup of water, a small bowl of water on your desk, put a few drops of rosemary oil when you're working and let the what you call smell of the rosemary oil come to you, it helps you to remember very, very easily. Very easy. Right? So you can do that. Now one more thing. Try to increase your power of recall. How will we work on our power of recall? How will we work on the power of recall? Whenever you get up in the morning, don't get out of your bed immediately. Keep your eyes closed and try to remember the last dream you are having. And make a rule that every day I won't get out of my bed without remembering one dream. Write down the dream, then get out of the bed. After a few days, you'll be writing 2 dreams. After the few days, you'll be writing 3 dreams and more dreams. And as you recall your dreams, your power of recalling will increase. Because what you are studying, you have already done in class. So it's already in your memory. You don't have to put it in your memory. You have to learn to take it out of your memory. And that is the power of recalling. And this is a very, very easy way to increase your power of recall. Right? And now just one last thing. And that is before your exams, it has been shown that a 20-minute fast walk helps us to really do very well in the exam. And a lot of scientists today are saying that before you sit for your exam, please go for a fast 20-minute walk. And one more thing, when you sit down for the exam, do alternate breathing for 1 minute and then start your exam. That is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Do alternate breathing for 1 minute with the music. And then sit for your exam. Right? Okay, I'll stop over here. It's 4 o'clock. Right? Any questions, anyone else?
For smaller children,
Yeah.
say the child is 11 years old.
Right.
So the 45 minutes, is that not too much?
It will be too much. So you can divide it and make it less.
Yes.
Make it less. But don't go over 45 minutes. Otherwise you will drain a certain psychic center in the body, then that will not function so well the next time. Yeah? Don't go over 45 minutes.
How many times would you read the question?
Huh?
You read the question once.
Right.
And you think you know the question, when you write some answer which is totally irrelevant.
Read it 2 or 3 times, but do alternate breathing. Couple of alternate breaths, they bring a lot of stability in our breathing. And if our breathing is stable, then our perception is stable. Okay, right? Thank you. All the best to all of you. God bless you.